Hello, and welcome back to a new episode of the Between Two Tales podcast. This is episode 18. My name is Kevin. I'm joined by my co-host Dave. Appreciate you all for tuning back in and listening to us create another story. Appreciate all the newcomers coming along and listening and tuning in too. But just so if you guys don't know, Dave, why don't you explain to them how the show works?
Yes, and for all the newcomers to our show, what you're about to witness is proof that you can generate a story concept in an hour and a half. That's right, 1 hour and a half. That's the time on the clock. Out of 5 random words. Why are we doing this? Well, I already said to prove that it can be done. But on a more serious note, a lot of times writers think that they have to wait for this great strike of inspiration to hit their head or they have to read something that gives them inspiration, or the amount of reasons to write are plentiful, and those are not necessarily bad reasons to write. An idea could hit your head and you really want to write about it. That's great. What we're going to show is that you can take that idea, outline it in an hour and a half, no matter what. Just push forward, knowing that it won't be perfect, and that's okay. It's an outline it, get it done, write it, and you'll revise it. And then on top, like I already said, you're going to see us do it from 5 random words. So in case you're one of those folks who has no idea what they want to write about, but you know you want to write something, you can generate 5 random words as well, and then come up with a story, just as you're about to see us do. And maybe it's something that's interested you enough to where you want to keep developing it. And if it's not, that's okay. Write another story with 5 random words. I think, for us, this is episode 18, so we look back on all 17, and there's a handful that we say, you know what, that might deserve a second look in another development run.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Now we have all of that work done where we can say, let's dig into this concept a little bit more. Don't know what you have until you put it out there.
That's right. And I think you're short selling yourself if you don't think you can come up with ideas out of the blue. Just give yourself some constraints, and you never know what you'll be able to come up with. And at the end of this segment, we'll compare our story to an AI-generated story. We're going to give an AI tool called ChatGPT the same prompts that we have to see what kind of story they come up with, and just compare good old human creativity versus AI creativity. And last episode, the AI said the spy gets a block of cheese as a reward, and it just immediately lost after that.
Yep.
But it was funny. Very funny.
Yeah, I got points for humor.
Very funny. But so far, I'd say the AI hasn't been able to hold a candle to any of the stories that we generated. But it's getting better. Well, last episode seems like a regression, but it definitely gets better. It depends on the prompts. I think last episode's prompts was kind of hard.
Right.
And on top of the words that we're generating today, we're going to throw another monkey wrench in there. We're going to generate 2 random pictures. We're going to include those pictures as imagery within the world, within our story itself. Last week, we had pomegranate and some random observatory that Dave and I had to spend a couple minutes Googling on where this place was. That's and just have that as a scene within our story. So with that being said, let's generate these words.
Okay. And timer is ready. We'll start the timer once we get our 2 images.
Yep. So, all right. Star. Worm.
Okay.
Gown. Issue. Lack. Interesting.
Feeling good about these.
Interesting. The worm. That's an interesting wrench in those other words. All right, let's generate some pictures. Some pictures.
Yeah, see
random. Generate. What do we got?
And I'll start.
What is that? A lime.
Start the clock. A lime and lemon.
Lime and lemons.
Okay.
Well, we'll take it. Lemon lime. Someone drinks a Sprite.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Star.
So
worm.
Worm is interesting because besides just the actual worm, as if this person is going fishing, it can also be used as an insult. You can call someone a worm.
That's right.
And so that might be more interesting. Just another way to use it, or as
That's
bait
true.
or whatever. Gown, I think of nightgown right away, or a gown to a big event.
That's
You know?
also true. Issue, lack,
Yeah.
star.
So okay, something I was telling you right before we hopped on here is I was listening to Whitney Houston,
Yep.
and I'm like, okay. Now I'm not saying we write a Whitney Houston story. No, because that's already been done. It just came out not too long ago. But you have things like star, lack of talent, maybe gown, big event, worm is an insult, issue, plenty, whatever it is, plenty. Star, we can wrap star. Obviously there's the physical star that no one has yet to touch, but stars, night sky, and then there's a star as far as talent and
Yeah.
so on and so
Superstar.
on. Superstars of some sort.
Yeah. A superstar worm.
I
Worm.
drink sprites all the time, I guess.
And then we got the lemon
And
and
don't
the
forget,
lime.
singers will put. I don't know if they put lemon and lime in their. I know they drink tea in order to like keep their voice ready.
Probably put some lemon in there. Some
I think they do
soothe.
put some lemon in there just to kind of get everything.
Maybe it's like Sprite. I don't know. You got a tummy ache when they drink Sprite to calm it down. Just like what I had to do a few weeks ago.
That's right. So I'll throw out an idea.
Okay.
Super basic. I'll throw out two ideas, both basic because
Okay.
pretty much the same thing. A singer who's trying to make it as a singer, ups and downs, through those trials, through all those issues. Whether they get gypped, making deals, getting lied to, getting the raw end of some deals. Could add drug use, drug abuse. Could add, it's a singer, could be a rapper, could be gang related. Maybe they're from a gang, like it's from like 1990s. Thinking Biggie, Tupac, all those folks. Snoop could also be an actor. I mean, talent is talent. This is like the showbiz, one way or another. There's multiple types of showbiz,
Yep.
and same kind of rough idea. Well, I'll put that on top of the mantle, super basic.
Okay.
Let's see where we either go from there or do something completely different.
Let me see. They were a singer. What are some interesting stakes that they would have to sing for?
I mean, it could be personal stakes. It could be, to get themselves out of poverty or whatever. It could be a competition. It could be they just want to be the biggest star in their field. But a lot of times I think it stems from like, it's a passion, but also trying to get out of their current economic situation.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But, it kind of changes because it's like, I feel like when it comes to like being a star or whatever, you run into these things where in your mind, it's like, okay, once I put forth this work, enough people love it or like it, whatever, and I build this fandom, et cetera, that life will be easier. And it's like trading one set of problems for another set of problems is probably way more realistic. Current set of problems deal with more so not having resources. When you get to a certain place in life, as we're talking about a superstar, you have the resources. The problem is you have too many resources. And so certain things are offered to you that aren't actually good for you. You have to make decisions that have a high impact on your life, on your career, etc. So navigating that is something that would be a part of this, whether it be, from rags to riches, if it's a rapper or a certain type of rapper, navigating rags to riches while, trying to deal with gang or street related activity to not end up dead pretty much, or not catch the envy of someone else who wants what you have and is willing to kill for it, right? So those are some of the things that like the stakes will evolve. It's like overall get to a good place. And then there's different parts that make it very difficult. And it doesn't actually look the way you think it is at the end because getting raw deals with these long hours, time away from family and friends, no real relationships in the beginning just because you don't have the time. You're flying out everywhere. It's hard to like make a steady relationship. And then on top of that, you could have these other issues, whether it be family members killed or something, or attack something. They have to come do that, etc.
All right, I got 2 lines of thoughts to add on top of yours. Just out of the world kind of lines. One literally.
Okay, let's see.
The 1 star, maybe it's like instead of the progression to a star, if you look at it from a redemption arc, maybe I was thinking of Bruce Willis, who was an act. He's a star actor,
Yeah.
but he's losing his voice. He can no longer act.
Right.
Can't do that anymore.
I think it's his memory, but yeah.
No, I think it's his voice.
It's his
isn't
voice?
it? Yeah.
Well, something with the brain, but yeah, he can't act anymore. So it's like a regression.
Yeah. So could be a young up and coming star. They get Bruce Willis has to lose their voice, and now they can't sing anymore. Now they got to do something else.
That's tough.
It could be right when they're about to hit stardom, and they get this happens, or right when they already hit their peak and they kind of have to cruise along for the rest of their life. The other one, is a star singer in this made up world. They need people to fight, and he gets drafted. He gets taken out of his
like military forces.
He gets some Space Wars type of thing going on in this universe.
Yeah, okay.
He gets drafted, taken out of
his fellow.
Exactly.
Oh, really? That's where you're going? All right.
Yeah, he uses his talent to bring morale up when they're getting in the midst of battle and everyone's down.
That's interesting. They're both interesting for different reasons. I think military forces and we put it as Space Wars, but it's as they say, war is hell, right? So while that's going on, he's providing some entertainment. I'm thinking of like Elvis or something, but even Shaggy. Whoa, I'm about to hit people with a left turn, but Shaggy, the reggae singer, was
That wasn't me.
It wasn't. He was in the U.S. Marines, and he would sing for his fellow Marines, and that's kind of what got him started because he wasn't taking it serious.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was just for fun. Yeah, there's an interesting video on YouTube, right? But he wasn't taking it serious; it was just for fun. He kept singing it, and they enjoyed it. They asked him to keep singing, and he did. And when he got out of the Marines, he decided to try to make something of it. So
could be that too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it could be something like that. Where it's like
depends on the trajectory on how we want to make this person's life. They can either be comfortable and pull them into hell, and then you have to
survive. The Bruce Willis idea is heartbreaking.
Why don't you find out exactly what he has?
Yeah, actually.
Bruce Willis disease.
Yeah, so it's some kind of dementia type thing. It's aphasia.
Yeah, aphasia has to do with throat. I'm pretty sure.
He's been diagnosed with frontal temporal dementia. I think he's forgetting how to it sounds like he's either forgetting how to talk or he's forgetting.
Well, aphasia.
He's having a problem trying to formulate words.
I don't know how aphasia works, but I've met a doctor with aphasia, and basically you could still make out words, but you stutter a lot. And I think you lose, you don't really have much control of your throat muscles. So you have a hard time, your brain wants to say something, but you have a hard time getting that word out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
It's very sad. Yeah. Yeah. I found something here. I mean, I think what you said is a little bit more in depth, but it was saying aphasia is a language disorder that can impact individuals' speaking and writing comprehension. Disorder caused by damage to areas of the brain responsible for expression and comprehension.
Okay. You know what's funny? I don't know if you watch Kill Tony, the comedy podcast.
I can't say that.
But they've had a regular recently, and it's a guy with cerebral palsy, and he can't talk. So all his jokes are text to speech.
Oh, is it real life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I saw that on TikTok. I think.
Yeah. He's been blowing up. Yeah. He's really funny. So maybe if we do go with that storyline, maybe the dude becomes a comedian. Or
From a singer to a comedian. I think it's
Or he
okay.
was already a comedian, and then he was already a comedian. Now he does text to speech comedy.
So like that has a silver line. Like that's more silver lining than a singer who then has this problem as they're on their uprise. Like that's just stating. Like that to me is a sadder story. That's just like it ends. I think it ends tragically. You know, sometimes it's okay to have a tragic story.
He gets shot.
Maybe by themselves, maybe from themselves, but this one's more of like a darker, sadder story.
It
And
could be. I mean, it could be anything, right? I mean, we're talking about singers and stuff like that. It could be like Gordon Ramsay as Parkinson's and he can't cook anymore, because his can't handle knives because his
that's
hands
actually
keep
true.
shaking.
Yeah, like yeah, but that and that still has a silver lining in a sense. Well, that's terrible, but you could be a Gordon Ramsay, open up restaurants. You can still taste food, and you can hire people that can cook. So it's like you have to shift what you do, and then going through that. All right, what's wrong with it? Let's go. We're going with a cook,
Oh, we're
star
going
cook.
with the chef, the menu.
Bro, that's right.
Yes, chef.
Star chef. Oh, if it's good, you know what's funny? As soon as you say star chef and you see the word worm, I was like, I feel like that's an insult that Gordon Ramsay has said and called someone probably a maggot or
Probably
like a
call. I
little.
mean, he called people idiot sandwiches. Probably call him a worm sandwich. You maggot. I mean, that's easy.
Yeah, but let's do
Probably
a
called
female
someone
chef.
that before. You're a can of worms. You've opened a can of worms. All
Oh
right,
yeah,
so
the expression. That's right. The
yeah,
the expression. So I'm going with a female star chef. Okay,
female star chef. She slipped some worms into a very rude patron's food.
let's get some names. Into
Gordine,
a very rude person's food and just dumps the whole can of worms in there.
or maybe she, I've seen those survival videos where they eat some worms out of the coconut tree.
Where is she, Kevin? What's going on?
I don't know. We haven't figured that
Jade,
out yet.
Eva, Jade, Brittany, Karen.
So we're going up with we're going with a chef
Yeah,
that gets
why not?
Parkinson's or something,
Something
loses her hands.
loses the ability to control. Yeah, Parkinson's. Why not?
All right, early onset Parkinson.
Yeah,
All right, chef with early onset Parkinson's. Now, is this a young chef?
I think so. I think when we say young, I'll say like early 30s.
That's very young for Parkinson's, but yeah,
I mean, she has to still be up and coming and like, but good enough.
it can happen. I'm pretty sure. What's that guy?
It definitely could happen.
Michael J. Fox, I think.
I'm pretty sure he had it early,
Yeah,
or like it began early.
yeah.
I know in one of the Back to the Future films, he was deploying some tactics in order to help himself get through it, but it was still early. Like yeah.
Oh,
Olivia, Nadia, Rosemary. Maybe
Rose,
her name is Rosemary, and she likes to use rosemary.
Rose,
Rose,
Chef Rose,
Angelica White,
Angelica White,
Rosemary Black, Nadia Poole,
Rosemary Black,
Elaine Jenkins, Olivia Ruiz, Wilda, Georgia, Tyler, Misty, Felicia, Trina, Audrey,
Queenie.
Daisy, Sapphire, Tasha, Daisy,
Now,
Sapphire.
what kind of chef is she? Should make her a French chef,
That's a good question.
American.
I'll make her American.
All right,
Americans can cook too, you know.
Bobby Flay.
I know to all you French watching, you're probably disagreeing with that. That's okay. It's the reason why we're one of the fattest populations on Earth. I think Mexico overtook us, though.
I love me some burritos and tacos and
That's right. I'll do both.
all that good stuff.
Chelsea, Veronica, how's the name?
Estelle. I
Yeah,
never met a person named Estelle before, but all right.
I have.
Well, Estelle it is.
Estelle.
Estelle, Chef Estelle.
I don't think
What
we
is
need
she?
a name, right? Estelle
Nah.
Cook.
Now, what is she known for cooking? Just like regular gourmet food? Is she a pastry chef? desserts. I feel like, what do you need your
Well,
hands
you
more
got to
for?
be able to cut, fillet. I mean, pastry, you have to, but pastry, you're doing like a cake and they start to do that. Like, I could never do it. Like, I don't have Parkinson's. I still shake too much. When they get with the icing and then they do like
Oh, they pipette the icing. Yeah.
yeah, like that seems hard to do even when you have regular, like, no problems. Like, I don't know how they do it so steadily. Like, I would be a mess. Like, I'd just be like, all forms, you really do need your hands.
She says she cooks regular, just cuisine. It's
Yeah,
like good food.
fine.
Estelle, Italian.
She's good at, proficient in all or like a decent amount, but her specialty is
She
Italian,
needs
let's say.
she needs a special dish. Maybe
Well,
it's
maybe
handmade pasta, and she can no longer make it no more. You gotta
handmade.
knead the dough, do all that.
Maybe she's like an expert in Japanese cuisine. And she can't hold the sticks anymore in order to do the final detailing work and all that other stuff. You know,
Sushi.
yeah, you gotta work with the knife, sharp knife, and get that fish. Like fish can be hard to do even when you have no problems. Like that's kind of
Fish.
slippery.
A lot of fish have worms in them too. So she
Wow.
cuts it out,
Well,
forgets the worms.
here this man go.
She'll
Um,
use a worm in a sushi roll.
I mean, it could be interesting like that. It could also be. Would you say Italian?
I mean, I'm down for either. She could be a master of Japanese cuisine or Italian cuisine. I'm a fan of both.
I'm a fan of both as well. All right, let's just pick one for the sake. Let's do Japanese.
All right, Japanese. So she's a sushi chef.
Yeah,
Okay. She does a lot of filleting, rolling of doing the sushi rolls,
all of it. And
all of it. Japanese cuisine expert.
she probably, if I had to guess, she probably spent a decent amount of time in Japan
She worked under
studying.
that dude who has a shop in the train station that's famous. What's that guy's name? Something's Dream.
I do know what you're talking about.
It's Something's Dream. Euro.
Yep, I was like, I'll find it.
Euro.
Yeah,
Euro dreams of sushi. She is Euro's disciple.
because if I'm not mistaken, that's the yeah. Pretty sure I watched a video of this man, but that's that sushi where you sit down, they
He makes
serve
it
it
for you.
to you, they make it the way you're gonna enjoy it, and if they
Yeah,
tell you
it's called omakase.
Aussie, and if you're gonna have any soy sauce, they tell you when. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, yes. Okay. So,
And maybe she's known for serving the pufferfish sushi. If you cut it wrong, you killing people. So she can no longer fillet the pufferfish.
yeah, she probably, that's been taken away.
Yeah, that's her thing. She's the first
Mhm.
American chef to be certified by the sushi powers to be to serve pufferfish.
Okay. Well, that's just one portion of that's part of it. But yeah, okay. So let's do. So you spent time studying there, early 30s, etc. The name's Estelle. All right. How should we start this off? We have about an hour and 4 minutes, by the way. Do we start this off with she already knows she has the problem? Do we want to start where she's on her rise?
I think we start at the peak of her stardom. She opened
Yeah.
up a new restaurant. Maybe she got a Michelin star. Like she got fastest sushi restaurant in America to get a Michelin star. Like all these crazy accolades.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
then just as fast as it has gone up, it's gonna plummet.
Yeah. So, all right. So we start off with Estelle having a celebratory party for the grand opening of, like famous people are in there. It's like she's opening up a location. The only thing with that is it already kind of starts the idea that she has these locations already. And, what difference? I mean, it sucks, but like, what difference is it to take a step back and be like, all right, well, at least I already have these locations. I'll get my chefs and everyone going, and they'll do it. I think it's more interesting now. I have I'm thinking it through. Like it's more interesting to see like they're on Like she already did her studying. She's on her come up. She's not there yet. She doesn't have shops, but maybe she's dreaming of opening up her shops, restaurants. She's dreaming of opening up her first restaurant, and she's working towards it while working at a sushi restaurant. And she's trying to get her own launch. And she runs into all the trials and tribulations with getting that open. And then on top of it, when you think she finally got it, she finds out that she's having this problem. She starts to realize this problem is progressing, whatever it is, and then she goes in to find out more information. She thought maybe it was just her nerves because of trying to get this restaurant open for herself and dealing with all of that. And it's like, no, it's not just, she thinks it's just her nerves and, she's just stressed. And it comes to find out that she has, early onset Parkinson's. Because then it's like,
Okay.
dinged and dinged. And then then it's like, do I open this restaurant? Do I not? Let's just say she opens it. She starts it. And
I feel like
she ends
'cause
up
I imagine the scene in my head when she finds out she just accidentally cut herself without knowing when it used to be very, natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe we start at the point where she's transitioning to opening up her new restaurant.
Yeah. I think she's somewhere in that. Like, she's still working, but like,
She saved enough money to launch her own thing. Now
yeah.
she has to build it.
Well, she just build it. Yeah.
So she starts off.
Like, she's literally like, she's almost there. She's like, it's kind of like during the day, she's looking at the progress. At night, she's working at the restaurant that she's working at. But her days are coming to an end soon.
I'm trying to think of something cool that she can make a name for herself in the local area to build up. So we could build her up some more. Maybe she catches fish straight out of the ocean and fillets them right there for people. That's her thing. I seen a YouTuber do that. Fresh, as fresh as you could get.
That literally is.
She does pop-ups like that. She's just like a child of the sea. She loves everything about the ocean. She's very good at foraging stuff. She grabbed the seaweed, out of the beach, the kelp or whatever. She catches the fish, whether it's spear fishing or rod. As soon as she pulls one up, starts scaling it. She's got her set up right there, starts slicing it up, makes a nice little plate for people to enjoy. And that's how she starts building a name for herself. And then she parlays that into opening up her restaurant, once she has the funds saved. And that's how she built the demand. That's why there's a long line.
Yeah.
And then things starts turning.
So she does sushi by the sea.
Catch and cook sushi.
Catch and cook. Because what's great about that is you don't have to have startup costs, so to speak.
Yeah, or at least everything's from the ocean, fresh.
And she's just, you just need a board to do it on.
And need some knives, a board.
Pitch a little tent over your head, get to cutting.
Yeah,
so she's working at a sushi restaurant. She's doing her own sushi creation by the sea. I like that.
Yeah, that'd be. She could work for a restaurant too, at night, and then during the day she does
doing both. That's to help get her name out.
Yeah, that's to help get her name out.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then she pays the bills.
Yeah.
By working as an actual sushi chef.
Yeah. And then during the day, she's doing oceanside sushi.
That's right. There's a lot in the ocean. She can grab some sea urchins, serve up some fresh uni. You know how expensive uni is. Very expensive.
I don't, but I'll take your word.
Oh, it's very expensive. So
How are we talking?
Let me see. I never had it before, but I heard.
I put an uni sushi, and it's it just laughed at me and said, "You sure you want that? Are you sure you can afford it?"
It says 6 to 12. I think that's for one thing though.
For one bite. I never even heard of
one sea urchin costs $10. And that from one, you get one bite, I'm pretty sure, or two.
I don't think,
but it's pretty pricey. I think it's literally $8 for the one thing. so that's pretty pricey. Because $8
Oh,
you can get a whole line of the entire roll.
we picked the wrong thing because now I'm just like feel like I need to have sushi.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. It's
But
one of my favorite foods.
it is.
I'm getting hungry.
It's making. I'm here looking at the menu trying to find uni. It was like maybe I should put in an order. What?
It'd be cool. Like she catches, I don't know, like a salmon. She can turn like half of it, one fillet into the roll, spicy salmon roll, and turn the other half into sashimi.
Yeah. All right. Let's put an outline here. So we got plenty of time with 55 minutes. So I did like a quick, like pretty much 10-point outline where it's like Estelle's working for a sushi restaurant at night. During the day, she's making oceanside sushi, trying to open up her own place or building her own spot, dealing with the trials and tribulations with
I
opening.
got another angle. Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead. Shoot.
Maybe it starts off as Estelle seeming like it's the main character, but as she, as everything onsets for her and she has to pivot, maybe then it becomes about like
Training.
maybe she takes on a mentorship role and mentors somebody, and that person becomes the main person.
So maybe it's seen through the eyes of Estelle in the beginning, in the sense of like, or we see through the eyes of Estelle where she's doing all this and then devastation comes. And then we have this secondary character protagonist who's basically running B story, and then they're trying to get, they're trying to do their thing in the US, meets her when she's just like, yeah, maybe she's like, your stuff is terrible, worms wouldn't even eat it. And then, comes to have some like respect for this other.
Yeah, maybe this person has a personal connection to her. Like maybe
they're just like, they just keep showing up. Like they just keep coming back to her, even though she like, it's like, you're no good. And then she keeps like coming back and like wanting to learn.
Yeah, maybe here's an angle. Kind of cliche, but maybe this person showed up at one of Estelle's pop-ups and it had some of her sushi when they were younger. And that's what built their passion for wanting to also be a sushi chef.
Sure. Yeah, I like that. I mean, why not? We can try it. I mean, I think it's a nice, and it makes sense because that's how she really gets. That's how we get to the ending here, which is, she cuts herself, like how she finds out, right? She thinks it's stress. She cuts herself badly, goes to the doctor, finds she is on set. Life seems to end for her. She's down. Boom. And then I put in here just like she finds strength to carry on, hires a great sushi chef, blah, blah. That right there can just be, we had to come up with another name for this person. But other person steps back into her life and is like, yeah, I had your sushi when I was young. Like, I've been training and honing my skills, et cetera, et cetera. Estelle doesn't think it's going to work. She's like, this is done. This dream is over. And then this person like gets her to relive her dream through her mentee.
Yeah.
Her protege.
Her protege. Exactly.
Yeah. I like that. Let's come up with a quick name for this protege real quick.
Chef Max. Chef, I don't know. Chef Tony. I'm just going to start rifling off people we know. Haley. Jojo. George. Flavio. Brian.
Let's make it Catherine. Estelle and Catherine.
All right, Estelle and Catherine.
All right.
So maybe the beginning scenes is Estelle serving sushi to little Catherine.
That's
little
right.
cat. Or should I say, little cat. Kate. Cat.
Little Kit Kat. But Catherine gets her to believe again, believe in the dream, and teach her the way. I'm just revising these marching orders as I'm putting them down. Catherine. Because, we all know how this goes sometimes. You get down to the last wire, like, how does this end? But this time, we've learned and improved. And it's a hit. Okay, cool. Kind of bringing it around there. Okay. So let's kind of work through this. So Estelle's working.
I think I got the beginning scene.
Oh, I was just about to ask you.
So we're in the ocean. It's in the ocean. Don't see nobody, just fish. See a tuna.
We're in the ocean, so she's fishing right now.
Oh, we're in the ocean. Looks like planet Earth.
Okay.
All right, so there's a tuna that's swimming. It's just focusing in on this tuna. And then it gets speared by a spear gun. And it's getting reeled in. And we see Estelle in her whatever spearfisherman wear in scuba gear,
Yeah.
reeling this fish in.
Free diver gear or whatever.
Yeah, she's she's dragging it along behind her as she's swimming up to the surface, and she pulls it up. Climbs up on her boat, her little tiny boat that she took out to get into these deep waters, and now she's got this big old fish. She drives the boat back to the harbor, and then let's just say there's already a crowd of people waiting for her. She sets up, puts on her apron. I don't know if sushi chefs wear chef's hats, but
Not by the water. She's doing it.
puts on her apron, sets up her little table, rolls out her cutting board, starts slicing this fish up like a pro.
All right. Still, it's off the boat and places the fish down and begins to work.
Everyone's oohing and awing.
That's right. It's like watching all the masters work through. Each cut is precise.
No bones.
And
perfect.
That's right. Precise and perfect. Well, here's the thing. So Estelle gives the first roll to a young woman
onlooker
in the audience. They tell her they want to be the best sushi chef, just like her. Estelle.
The girl says that to Estelle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Estelle smiles and tells her one day she will. Opening sequence finished.
Start slicing and dicing. Slicing and dicing the fish.
Okay, so she says that. All right, so we leave. It's late. It's okay. It's now evening. Estelle is packing up for the day. She gets to her apartment, takes a shower.
Now she's got to go to work.
That's right. Puts on her work clothes and heads out the door. We see her enter on this beautifully
5-star
or beautiful 5-star sushi establishment. Maybe she doesn't work for a sushi restaurant. Like maybe she works for something else. She's like, I just can't wait to get the hell up out of here. Like sushi is an afterthought. There's restaurants that have like sushi but burgers and pizza. Like there's a whole bunch of different things, and it's like sushi is not like the focus.
Okay, so she's not an executive chef. She's a random cook.
She's a cook, yeah.
Okay. So she's at McDonald's.
The day McDonald's starts selling sushi, beware.
Or maybe it's not as prominent. Maybe she's just at like they sell sushi at Stop and Shop, like supermarket.
Let's not put her that far down. They sell everything and sushi. So like she could be the sushi chef.
It's just a seafood restaurant.
They partition it. So it's like she focuses on this, someone focuses on that.
Right. It's like the ramen place we go to. They got the sushi stand.
Yeah. They sell everything.
This is an Asian Asian fusion restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fusion restaurant. And sushi is just almost an afterthought.
But you can see it in her work. She's paying very close attention to detail with her plating, the presentation, as she sets up all the, they got the presentation sushi up front that you don't eat.
Her plating presentation skills are off the hook. Her coworker asks when she's out of here.
When are you going to start your own thing?
Estelle tells her soon. She's finalizing, or she's looking over some paperwork for a release. Okay. So we established that she cares so much. She's a master in her own right. She's doing all this stuff. Cool. So now it's like, all right, she has this rest of the evening. I might even change the order of this where it's like her coworker, she comes in, she steps in, and then as soon as she steps in, her coworker, they say hello, blah, blah. Ask her when she's out. She tells her soon she's doing this. Then we see her work, master in plating and presentation, just all the care that she puts forth. All right. It's the next day. Estelle is at her soon-to-be sushi location. She's with
empty building.
She's with, I don't know.
Realtor.
Yeah. Well, if
named
it's like
Max.
if she's already like in the process of building out. Oh, she says sign some paperwork. So yeah, she's with the realtor. She's with the realtor named Max. Max.
Yep.
He's telling her lies. He's telling her this is
An old strip club joint.
a great location. You're gonna get yourself in trouble. A great location to open a sushi restaurant. There's nothing like it on the block,
Location is great.
and the block is walkable. Yada yada yada. Right. So letting them know like everything here is great. Okay. Still tells Max she's ready to sign. And let's just say like, all right, we're either right, Max pulls out the papers and we're gonna have the first kind of instance where something kind of odd happens, but Max pulls out the papers and
Hands her a pen, and she dropped it.
It's still well now you put it like this. Still grabs the pen, writes her signature, but it comes out all weird. Yeah, not normal.
He just
She apologizes for being so nervous for her first purchase. Max says he gets it and
congratulates her.
that's right. Right. Okay. Congratulates her. So, all right, we got this sense of it. She's going to have this building. There's other trials and tribulations, probably with the building process that's going to stress her out, right? So she can leave.
Set up the decor, set up the stations.
Yeah. We'll have like a small like little thing, right? So, congratulates her on this lease, etc. Boom, done. Small party is thrown just to round it out with
Estelle and her close friends and family
and friends.
She does a private sushi dinner just for them.
Ah, okay. There's a private sushi dinner for them. Why does this matter, folks who are watching? Well, since this story is about everything kind of going right, even though you're going through struggles, and then things going wrong, we have to illustrate when things are going right and having fun. And so that way you see the juxtaposition of when things go terribly wrong. And it hits you that much more when it's like, just a moment ago, we were throwing a party, having a good time, and now it's pretty much a funeral up in here. But these are just small ways to really illustrate the different knobs from happiness and joy to sadness and depression.
That's right.
So he does this private sushi party, and now we deal with some of the other trials and tribulations of trying to juggle everything. All right, so this is at this part. This is kind of where you would have like a little faster. Forgetting what it's called. Kevin, help me out here. Where we just show things kind of rapid succession.
Yeah, like a faster descent downwards, like a transgression.
Or not even just yet. Like we're just showing her getting ready to do this thing. Like she signed the lease, but she has to get the place like put together. She's going through the bills, but there's a word for this, and I can't remember what it is. That's annoying. All right, but
is it a film?
Yeah, it's just to demonstrate that we are now doing.
Is it a vignette? Is that what it's called?
No, man, I can't remember, but it's okay. So Estelle, we see Estelle making design decisions.
Yeah, she has a designer she hired.
Yeah,
she hires a designer. She's talking to the designer. She's got to get appliances up in there.
Yeah,
some fridges for the fish.
Appliances being bought. Bills becoming due.
Bills piling up.
And, a look of stress on her face, but in good spirits.
Maybe one of the fridges stopped working and all her fish before opening day go rotten.
Well, she's not. Well, here's the question. So we have to figure that out. Does she get to opening it? Maybe she doesn't. She does. She almost has opening, and then she finds out this issue. So in part of the sequence here, part of the sequence, we need to throw in some things of like writing is messed up. She's still cooking it, but she makes missteps. Things like that.
We see her take a sip of water when she's putting stuff together and her hands.
And it spills on a little bit on her. So she's making this design decisions in the space. Appliances being bought, bills becoming due, and the look of stress on her face, but in good spirits. Stella's still working and doing her sushi by the ocean, working and still working in the restaurant and sushi by the ocean. One
Yeah, but
day,
now she's doing some advertising. She's like,
uh,
"Good news, guys! We got my first. I'm opening up a restaurant soon. Maybe she starts handing out flyers or something.
yeah.
Coming soon
Well,
flyer.
we'll get there. But yeah, she's definitely going to. So like, she makes a mistake one day while filleting a fish.
Accidentally cuts herself.
Well, maybe it's just more simple for this one. It's like she, she's so perfect because we saw her from before, man. She was sharp, and now there's a bone in there. Like she has to go back and take it out. Like she's not. The cut isn't as clean. The cut isn't as clean, etc.
Hmm.
I want to do like make it subtle. She, apologizes,
Oh, maybe.
says she's just
I,
stressed.
I think there's a thing with filleting where if you accidentally hit the stomach or something, or the guts or something. Or when she's gutting the fish,
Yeah, yeah, because if you're gutting it and then you puncture it,
all the bad stuff goes into the meat.
yeah. But yeah, so she makes a mistake while filleting or cutting or gutting the fish, and then but the cut, whatever it is, it's not clean. She apologizes and says, she's just stressed with everything, but hold tight, and she will get it right. So like the idea is that she's still being positive about it. Like, yeah, she's doing these mistakes that are unlike her, but it's subtle.
Yeah.
Because then when the thing happens, it's not just like the audience just like, wait, how did all of a sudden she has onset Parkinson's? Like she messed up one time with the signing. Like that doesn't mean anything. So it's just a bunch of like little subtle things. I also want to add, so like she's at the restaurant. I want to add your drinking water one, right? She's at the restaurant taking a sip of water when she realizes her hands are shaking, causing the water to spill from the sides. Her coworker friend tells her she needs to slow down, right?
Oh,
Because
so she is at the restaurant she works at.
yeah, at the restaurant she works
Okay.
at, she needs to slow down because she's getting too stressed. It's causing her to spill. Stell tells her once her spot's open, everything will be okay. Okay, so that it's just that just lives as a place where it's just like this thing is happening with her. She's attributing it to something else, and then we'll get to this part here. I think it probably happens more or less next. We should probably have like one other thing happen with
I think.
building out this space, but like something negative.
Well, I think maybe not building. Maybe just showing her signs of messing up again. I was
Or,
just looking at
oh yeah,
the lemon lime stuff. Maybe there's a scene where she's just like on a lime or lemon, and it's like perfectly thin slices. And then later on, when she does it, they're all in like misshapen, kind of messed up slices.
maybe that's how she cuts her hand. Maybe she's cutting up something as simple as lemon lime, and then it stings the living love out of her. And maybe that's what she's cutting when she cuts herself badly.
Yeah, 'cause I guess she's like testing herself because she used to be able to cut these things in rapid motion into perfectly thin slices.
Sure. So lemon and lime. We have lack, we have issue, we have gown, worm, and star. And we still kind of have to weave in.
Let's say she's a star sushi prodigy.
Someone by the docks when in the beginning calls her a star. Oh, we actually did use star because we said she works at a beautiful 5-star sushi establishment.
Well, we downgraded her.
Well, no, she works there. She's just not the head chef, and she just in
Oh, okay.
sushi station.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she
Okay.
doesn't get the accolades. She gets just the work. So, but we still need to work in worm, which she's going to use as an insult probably.
Yep.
Gown could be like an opening nightgown. Issue and lack, like those things, I think can happen once we bring in Catherine into the fold. All right.
Yeah, those are easy.
So
Those are some,
should we? All right. So we have cutting lemon and lime, but before we get to there, we have this little sip of water incident. Something needs to stress her out with this building, just for plausibility's sake. So like maybe there's water damage, it's a setback. That's all. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Estelle experiences.
there's the water leaking pipes
Yeah.
that just damage the floors, the new floors she just put in.
Oh yeah. That just made me like feel some sort of way. Her location.
That's happened to me already.
There's leaking pipes ruining the floors. She just
So does she show up to a restaurant? And
yeah. She
looks like there's a tsunami has passed by.
no, maybe not that bad. She shows up to the restaurant with the contractor, and is visibly upset at losing money in a sense. But what are you going to do? She presses forward. We see, all right, we see her juggling the bills, and she's delaying just to kind of showcase that it is impacting her. It's not just like she just made the money. It is, and she's delaying payment on certain bills. Stretching out when she can pay certain things. All right. So now something bad's going to happen. So where should this incident happen? On the docks at the restaurant she works at. She's cutting lemon and lime.
She's cutting some lemon and lime. Let's see. Probably at the restaurant she works at.
Okay.
Maybe that's her. She just passes it off as she's doing too much right now. Maybe that's her sign to quit. She says, she's looking at, she's slicing up the lemon and limes. She's like, I can't. I got to go all in, or
Well, it just be, she's cutting it up, she's prepping them, and then, it's like the way I kind of see it, like as if this were a film, was like she's about to make the cut, and as she's going down, like her hand is just visibly trembling, and she's like looking at it, she's trying to like straighten it out. She does it now. She's like kind of slow, and then she goes down again, and then she cuts her finger pretty good or something like that.
yeah. But I feel like she should just write it off as like stress or something.
Well, here's the thing. She's been writing off all of it as stress, and she probably still will write it off as stress. But let's just say, like, whatever the cut is, it's bad enough to where, she has to kind of go in to get
stitches.
At. Yeah.
Okay.
So she's
all right.
Estelle's cutting lemon and limes, prepping them for the night.
She slices her finger real bad.
And she slices her.
And will need stitches.
And really bad. And needs to go to the hospital. Yeah. Estelle waits at the hospital as the doctors are busy in the emergency room. She's shaking. Relief. Why not? She just cut herself pretty damn good. Doesn't have to mean anything just yet, really. Right, so she's shaking like a leaf. She's, stressed. Finally, she is seen. The doctor asks how she got hurt, etc. She tells him, what she does for a living, and it happened. It was a work incident, right? So she's pretty much just like playing it, that like downplaying, like it's a work incident. People get cut. It happens, right?
Maybe he notices something about her.
Yeah, he has to notice something, right? He has to notice that she's like having a hard time controlling her shaking. So, doctor.
We could probably be vague about this because this would require research on how Parkinson's is diagnosed.
That's right. He notices her uncontrollable shaking and asks how long that's been happening. Estelle says for a few months now. And the word I was searching for was montage.
Oh, montage.
Estelle says for a few months now, but she's just nervous and stressed because of her new restaurant. The doctor seems unsure of that explanation.
Says another sign of Parkinson's is balance problems. So maybe she has her walk.
Yeah.
Finding
Estelle's in the house is a busy emergency room. She's shaking like a leaf. Finally, she is seeing the doctor asks how she got hurt. She tells him blah blah. So okay, she's nervous, and the doctor seems unsure of the explanation, but there's nothing else to go off of. Nods. Estelle gets up to leave, and she loses her balance. So after she loses her balance, the doctor asks that she take a seat and allow for testing. So we have this little thing. Estelle downplays, but doctor is persistent. All right. Understand for all you watching that yes, the doctor impatient and how this would kind of play out is a little touchy and how you kind of do it because technically a doctor can't force her to do it, but it's outlined. So the doctor is persistent and Estelle goes in for testing. Okay, we are now in the room, like the office of the doctor, and he breaks the news. Gotta keep moving with 18 minutes. He breaks the news to her. Okay.
Based on your symptoms, you have early onset Parkinson's.
She doesn't believe it. Her life seems to end. She doesn't know what to do.
I think you should say something like, I recommend that you stop using sharp knives.
Yeah. The doctor recommends to stop using sharp knives, or, and asks if she has help at home. That's a pretty more, I feel like that's somewhere where that conversation would go. What does your at home life look like? Do you have assistance in other ways? Maybe you're married or whatever. Estelle is single and lives alone. All right. So, if we, the whole depression arc, and that's what I'll just call it here, just for the sake of time, I'm just going to say depression arc, where we see her at home, sad, useless, or she thinks she's useless. She's struggling still. Maybe she even quits. Maybe she's no longer doing, she's probably no longer, she's depressed, right? No longer doing the oceanside sushi. Like all that stuff gets put on pause. Work gets put on pause. So, all this stuff there's a whole depression arc that can be definitely more illustrated, but that happens. Okay. And I think at the end of this thing it's in her restaurant becomes in limbo. Right. So restaurant.
I feel like she still goes to visit just to check up on stuff. And that's
I
when
think it's just like working, like work is still happening on it. And it's like, it's getting to a really good place, but she's just like, she hasn't decided yet what she's going to do with it. She's
that's when
money, right? And that's when, so here's the thing
young
that I
Catherine.
realized that we kind of made a mistake because in my mind, we made like when young Catherine, she gave young Catherine that thing that was like months ago. And all of a sudden Catherine's like 8 years older. So I was thinking she was like 12 or something. So we just need to bridge that gap and kind of, just fix it. So I put young women. So young women could be someone who's like 18, 19, 20. I think anything below. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. I'm going to say it 4 times. I'm just saying it's not a hard number, but under 25, you consider young women, right?
Yeah.
So you can hate Kevin. If you disagree with that,
cancel Dave.
If you hate that, you can after Kevin. Okay, so let's just say she's under 25. Okay, fine. That helps us. So we'll just leave young women and then Catherine. So let's bring her in. We have about 14 minutes. So
she walks through the door.
So Estelle,
or maybe she catches Estelle outside of her restaurant just looking at it.
Yeah. Estelle is outside of her restaurant. Oh, that's a good little scene. She's just looking at it. You can assume she's wondering what to do with it, etc. What to do with it. She's sad. Yeah. And all of a sudden, we hear a familiar voice. It's Catherine. She's wondering when the opening is happening, the grand opening. Estelle laughs but like bitterly. It says never. All right, she's a little bitter right now. Okay.
Estelle says never.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she's telling the truth, maybe she's not. That's not really important. She's just more like, leave me alone. Kind of like that never is not necessarily to say she has made a decision. It's more like just go away.
Okay.
Catherine, yeah, we're just having a little bit of fun with the dialogue because that never doesn't actually have to mean she means never. It could just be like, as far as you're concerned, never. Like, go leave.
Right.
Catherine tells her. All right, so Catherine tells her these amazing things about how her sushi made her
Inspired her.
feel and inspire. Okay, so we have this whole like thing, and I'm trying to distill if Estelle like plops it down.
No, I think she should just nonchalantly say, oh, not very enthusiastic. Be like, oh,
That's good.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Catherine pops the question,
Yeah.
is there any way I can work for you? And that's when
Yeah.
Estelle says, no.
You're a little maggot worm. Catherine asked
I'll not allow worms to work for me.
if she can work for her or learn under her.
Learn under her, yeah.
Estelle says no. It's better she doesn't do this. However, but Catherine being a bit more, she's not easily deterred.
Ooh, are you on the part where she tries to convince her? Or are we?
Yeah, pretty much. Or convince her just to take her under the wing or just give her a shot. Because here's what's going to happen. She's going to give her a shot. She's going to be like, all right, cook something, make something. Like she's going to get thrown. She's going to be like, the issue is you have a lack of talent and you're a maggot worm. You 3 of the words right there.
No, I got a cool one. Well, it's kind of cool. It kind of brings full circle. So maybe she says no, they walk away, whatever. Catherine decides that she wants to impress Estelle.
It comes back with something that she's made.
Comes back with a fish.
Okay.
Sets up her own little table. Plops it down in front of us, just watching, like, amusingly. You see Catherine struggling, filleting the fish. She's like, oh, pin bone. And Estelle's sitting there, like, shaking her head.
Okay, I'm with you.
And then Catherine, makes these really ugly slices of sushi.
So Catherine's not easily, because we have about 8 minutes and 30 seconds. So she comes back with a fish
and her set of knives.
And her own set of knives.
A supermarket bought fish.
And, she preps the fish in front of Estelle. Catherine finishes.
Estelle picks up a roll, looks at it, and drops it to the ground.
Catherine looks at it, finishes, and looks at Estelle. Estelle picks it up and throws it in the bin. Catherine is shocked. Estelle, don't think I'm not going to lay into it here. Come on now. We got to lay into it.
Oh, of course. It's time.
Estelle.
You have the knife work of a worm.
It tells her the issue with that display was it lacked any.
I wouldn't even feed this to the seagulls.
So you want to feed the what?
To the seagulls.
Any talent. And not even worms would eat. Bro, that's soul crushing. Or funny. Depends on your mindset. You might just laugh if someone says that to you. Depending on how I felt that day, I'll either be like, damn, bro, that hurt, or I might laugh. Or I might laugh. I don't know which one. That's just funny. Catherine shocked. Estelle tells her the issue with that display was it lacked any talent. And not even worms would eat this. Yeah.
So Catherine says, so teach me then.
I like this resilience, so teach me. Estelle realizes she ain't going nowhere.
Lets out a deep sigh, pulls open the door to her restaurant, says,
we begin now.
Go inside and throw those excuses for knives away.
So it opens the door to the restaurant. Okay. So Estelle tells Estelle, so basically her dream is going to come back here. Estelle begins to teach about 5 minutes. So this
We might have to do another montage
hey,
of her.
might have to. But here's the thing: Estelle begins to teach. Her hands are shaking a lot. Catherine notices, but says nothing. This is something that we find out later, like when they finally bond, right?
Yeah.
He says nothing. Catherine gets better, and Estelle becomes more approving of her work.
Her symptoms worsen.
That's right. Her symptoms worsen, and the restaurant, in about 4 minutes, the restaurant is getting put together faster. Like we just see it progress, whatever.
It's almost near grand opening now.
Well, almost near. Right. And then one day, Estelle is teaching Catherine how to fillet pufferfish. Like she has to kind of show her verbally.
Oh, maybe not a pufferfish. Maybe like a tuna or something.
Okay, all right, a fish.
A fish.
We got 3 minutes. We got time. The fillet of fish. When Catherine asks, "What's wrong? Why can't she be the chef?" Estelle explains the situation. Then Estelle tells Catherine she was going to shut this all down, but
now
her skills
there's hope.
Give her hope. That's right. Catherine cries. Happy tears. I will not let you down. All right. Catherine cries happy tears or whatever. Maybe not, but whatever. You get the point.
They continue working, and now it's grand opening day.
That's right.
There's a line out the door. Catherine,
it's
behind the counter.
It's grand opening day. Hold on. Estelle wearing her gown, a nice little evening gown, because she's not going to be cooking. So she's in the evening gown. The Catherine's in her, chef.
Got an apron on, chef uniform.
Estelle says this speech. Oh, this is a heartwarming story here. Her speech about how she started and trained Sarah, all for it to, I'm not going to actually write in about a minute 30, go, all for it to go away when she got ill,
got diagnosed
with help, etc., of Catherine. They are able to live out their dreams.
Yeah, I thought a nice little ending would be if Estelle adds Kat's name to the restaurant somehow.
I mean, I assume the restaurant name is a random, has nothing to do with their actual name.
Fish.
Catherine's and Estelle's Fish. But all right, we could do that. I mean, we can improvise that.
Yeah, we can improvise that
if we want. But there's a speech, and then the end. Does that feel like the end to you, Kevin?
Dinner begins.
All of that. Does that feel like the end?
Yeah. Catherine starts chopping.
Punch the clock. 18 seconds left on that clock. Man, I thought we actually would have plenty of time because we came to our decision fairly quickly, but...
Oh, I knew we were going to be behind when we were still talking about Estelle. I haven't even introduced Catherine yet. I was like, oh.
That's right.
This is longer than I thought.
This is longer. But we came in just under time. We used all of our words. This is what you call one of them smaller stories, but with a lot of heart, a lot of impact, a lot of heart. And it's one of those stories that I could see, it's a drama. It's one of those things that just hit you in the field and then make you feel good at the end. You need stories like that.
Yeah.
Some of our other stories have been kind of wild for a long, but this story is the least wild that we had for the past few that I remember.
This one is more of a really grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Just feel good, wholesome story.
Yeah.
No violence. No nothing. No violence, no deaths, no betrayal. Just life. Redemption.
Right. Just the nonsense of life. Working towards a dream and for whatever reason You can't have it the way
Life,
you can't have it the
life
way you
happens.
envisioned it. That's right. Life
Life
happens,
just happens.
and you roll with the punches, and you adapt, and live the dream a different way. All right.
Hmm.
So I'm going to read
So
this thing here to you. What do you want
I
to do?
think
I feel comfortable with any half. We just split it in half. I feel comfortable with the beginning to middle, middle to end. I'll let you decide.
I could do the beginning till the doctor notices
Yeah,
her
that seems about right.
shaking.
Yeah. Well,
That sound
just do
good?
that and then get her cut.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, this is when the doctor notices her shaking. I'll leave that to you.
shaking, shaking, shaking. Okay. All right. Somewhere around here. Yep. Okay. I'm just separating it in my notes. Bills are paid. Filet and fish. Coworker tells her some stuff. She's getting stressed. Cool. I'm good.
Good.
I'm good. Whenever you
All
want to
right.
start.
So to recap for everyone, the words we were given were star, worm, gown, issue, lack. And then we were also presented two pictures, one of a lemon and the other of a lime. Not as random,
Right.
but for our story, it makes sense. All right, so the story starts off. We just see a clear, beautiful underwater. You would think this is a scene out of planet Earth, ocean. We see fishes swimming everywhere, kelp, coral reef, maybe. We see the screen just lock in on this beautiful silver tuna just swimming along, minding its own business. And then we see a spear hit the tuna in the side. Now it's scrambling for its life. Clouds of blood are coming out from the tuna, and we see it getting reeled in by this person who's in full scuba gear. She's reeling in with her spear gun, and now she's ascending to the surface, dragging along the tuna fish with her. She pops out of the water, takes off her mask, yells out in excitement. She's got a good one. Jumps on her boat, brings the tuna on the boat, and just drives back to the harbor. At the harbor, we see a crowd of people waiting, and we don't know who they're waiting for, but it turns out they're waiting for our main character, Estelle. Estelle gets off the boat. Someone asks, "What did she catch today?" And she says she's got a real good one for them. She puts on her apron, sets up her little station, a wooden board, a little wooden table stand with a cutting board, rolls out her knives, takes one out, starts sharpening it, and then she reveals her catch, a giant tuna, lays it on the table. Everyone's oohing and awing, and then she does her thing, starts slicing and dicing, perfect within one fine motion. It's like she's doing a dance or ballet, and she's a complete expert at this. She pulls out her rice, starts presenting, putting together the rolls, and she sees a young woman onlooker just watching in awe. She takes the first roll and hands it to her, and the young woman is so grateful, and she's jumping up and down in excitement. And she takes this opportunity to tell Estelle. Estelle really inspires her, and she hopes to be as great as her one day in her work. Estelle laughs and says, with enough determination, and as long as you don't give up and you work hard, you might be better than me one day. Who knows? So it's the evening time. Estelle's wrapping up. She's packing everything up and heading back home. And now we see Estelle at her apartment. She hops in the shower really quickly, notices that she's late for something. We don't know what. Hops in the shower really quickly, see her getting ready, and we see her put on this uniform because she's heading to work. Gets in her car, speeds off to this 5-star Michelin restaurant, and she walks in. Just in the bit of time, she sees a coworker friend. The coworker says, cutting it close. The manager might not have to give you a hard time today. Estelle says, yeah, takes her place behind the sushi counter as people start to flock in to the restaurant. So we see Estelle at work in her environment. She's slicing up these fish, in unison, like she's her own one-person factory assembly line of sushi, slicing up fish, creating all these rolls, creating beautiful presentations, plating it, and putting it on presentation for everyone to see as they pass by. The server watches Estelle in awe, asking, when is Estelle gonna open up her own thing and just get out of here? Her talent is being wasted here. Estelle laughs and says, almost. We're almost there. And the server says, well, when you open up your restaurant, you're going to give me a job, right? And Estelle says, of course. Of course. The next day, we see Estelle showing up at an empty building downtown. Nice little spot in the heart of downtown. See cars passing by. We see another car pull up. A man in a suit walks out and says, so what do you think? And this is a real estate agent named Max who's been working with Estelle to find places that would be a good future location for Estelle's future restaurant. Estelle takes one look at it and says, it's perfect. This is the one. And Max says, all right, let's make it official then. Pulls out the paperwork, hands Estelle the pen. She grabs the pen, but she's noticeably shaking, and she signs her signature. Doesn't look like her neat, fancy signature that she usually signs. It's a little off scribble. She apologizes to Max. She says, I'm busy. I'm stressed. I'm nervous and excited at the same time. Max says, don't worry. I completely understand, but congratulations. They shake hands, and now he hands her the keys, and now this is officially Estelle's restaurant. As celebration, Estelle, in the next night or two, she does a private sushi dinner, an omakase for her closest friends and family. They show up. There's nothing there yet, but Estelle is privately and exclusively serving them sushi. 5 courses, different presentations, all looks professional and everything. They're so excited for her. They give her a toast of congratulations. She tells them how excited she is to finally open this up. So it then becomes a montage of her putting together the restaurant, talking with interior designers, showing them different patterns, getting the feng shui and everything right for a restaurant. She's ordering appliances, fridges, getting the water, electricity, all that stuff getting put together. And one day, she's doing her sushi by the shoreline pop up again. We see her sharpening knives. Everyone is there watching. It's got a nice fish. She starts slicing and cutting it, but she slices it just a bit too deep, and there's pin bones within this. And she apologizes. She's like, "Oh, sorry, been really stressed at work and everything going on, but there is good news. I'm going to be opening up my restaurant soon." Everyone is applauding, cheering her on, telling Estelle that she's always been a prodigy. How they're so happy for her. They can't wait for her to open the restaurant. So now she's at her workplace. She's doing her thing again. She's taking a break to take a sip of water. She notices her hand visibly shaking more than usual. She just writes it off as stress. You see the water spilling out the sides of the cup because she's shaking so much. She has to control her wrist with her other hand to stabilize it and take a drink. The coworker notices Estelle struggling with the water, and she's like, "You okay? Is everything all right?" Estelle says, "Yeah, everything's going great, actually," and breaks the good news to her coworker friend that she officially bought a location to open up her future restaurant. Worker's so happy for her, but tells Estelle to slow down, make sure she's not killing herself and stressing herself out too much so she can actually open up the restaurant successfully. The next day, Estelle shows up to her restaurant and she notices a pool of water gathering in the corner. She walks over, opens up the back room. The floors are flooded. There's been a pipe leak overnight, and now she's getting stressed. Everything is going wrong. She starts making phone calls, trying to get things put together. This is going to set her grand opening back some more. It's also going to cost her some more money because she's got to replace these brand new floors that she had just installed. But one of her stress relieving exercises that she does just to reassure her that she still got it. She flips a lime and lemon into her hands, puts them down on the cutting board, and starts slicing them. And we see them just fan out into perfect thin slices. And this somehow relaxes her. She says, I got this. So, the next night at her restaurant, she has to slice some more lemons and limes. So she's slicing up with the limes rapidly as she usually does. She notices that the shapes are not uniform as they usually are. Some are slightly larger than others, and as with an eye for detail, she's wondering what's wrong. But she just pushes through it, and her shaking hand happens to move in the way of the blade, and she slices her finger real good. Blood starts dripping everywhere. She gets a cloth and immediately puts it over her finger and hands. She tells the coworker that she has to step out and go get stitches because this is really bad, as we see the cloth getting more bloody and bloody. So she's in her car driving towards the emergency room, got her other hand all wrapped up in cloth, shows up, they take her in, get her stitched up. We see her in the emergency room getting stitched up. She's got her hand on her forehead saying, everything just seems to be going wrong right now. Now she's injured herself. And then she meets with the doctor.
Okay. The doctor asks, how did she hurt herself? She tells the doctor what she does for work and how this happened. Very understandable for her line of work. And accidents like this happen all the time. The doctor seems understanding of this answer and begins to put in her stitches. He tells her to hold her hand still, but notices how uncontrollable the shaking in her hand is. He asks her how long has that been going on. Estelle says only for a few months, but that's just because she's opening a restaurant of her own now. She gets to be the boss and make sushi the number one thing in her restaurant. The doctor is excited for her, but seems unsure of that explanation. Typically, nervousness and stress doesn't cause you to shake uncontrollably. But given that she cut herself pretty well, maybe. And he decides to let it go. He puts in the stitches, gets her ready and bandaged up, tells her to come back in 2 weeks' time so he can take a look and make sure everything is healing just fine. Still thanks him. She gets up to leave, loses her balance. The doctor catches her before she really falls. He guides her back down to take a seat. And as the doctor looks at her, putting two and two together, the shaking, the lack of balance, he asks if Estelle will be okay with them running a couple more tests just to make sure that she's fully okay. Estelle says, "What do you mean? It's just a cut, and I'm tired. I do. In the morning, I do sushi by the ocean, and I work at night. I'm opening my restaurant. It means nothing." But the doctor is persistent. He tells her typically people don't just lose their balance and cut themselves this badly, especially someone of her caliber who knows how to use a knife. These things happening back to back seem a bit strange. Just do the testing. Let's see what's going on. And if nothing, she's good to go. They run a battery of tests. Estelle looks as if this is a waste of her time, but she goes through with it. We are now in the doctor's office. She looks around. She sees all the diplomas on the wall and the accolades and awards from this doctor. Finally, she hears a knock at the door. The doctor presents himself and comes on in. His face now looks even more stern. He sits down and tells her he doesn't like to be around the bush, so he's going to tell it to her straight. He breaks the news to her that he believes she has early onset Parkinson's. At first, Estelle doesn't even react. She doesn't even really believe in what he's saying is what is happening even in real life. She takes a moment. She has to let this sit and come in. The doctor tells her he knows that this can be difficult to hear, especially someone around her age, but given the tests and what he witnessed, it does appear that she has onset Parkinson's and it will most likely continue to get worse. Estelle wonders and asks, how can this be? What does she do in order to make this happen? The doctor answers her questions with empathy and politeness. In Estelle's world, in her mind, everything seems to have ended for her dreams, her hopes, her wishes. She doesn't know what to do. The doctor recommends to her that for the time being, she should consider putting down the knives. Perhaps there's someone at home that is willing to help her, who's able to help her. But we see really just how alone Estelle really is in a sense because she's single and lives alone. There's no one to help her get through this issue. Estelle cascades into depression. She seems to lay about at home. She's struggling to find motivation. She's no longer doing the oceanside sushi, though her fans and admirers still show up thinking that maybe she'll reappear. She has her work restaurant go on pause as she's unable to work. She's in the place of unsurety and limbo. As she's dealing with this, she decides to visit her restaurant. She stands outside and looks in through the glass like an onlooker. Whether to close this place up or not, it just seems like none of this really matters anymore. She's about to carry on and move along, not even bothering to go inside to check progress, when all of a sudden we hear a familiar voice. It's Catherine, the young woman from earlier, by the ocean side. She asks when's the grand opening. Estelle laughs bitterly and tells her never. Puzzled, Catherine asks why. Estelle waves off this question. Catherine can tell that something is bothering Estelle deeply, and she tells her for what it's worth, her sushi, some of the most amazing sushi she's ever had in her life, and it's inspired her in a way like nothing else to become a sushi chef and follow in her footsteps. Estelle nonchalantly tells her, that's good. She begins to walk away. Catherine calls out to her, if it's all right, maybe I can learn from you. I'll be your protege. Estelle turns around, looks at her with a smirk, and replies, no. It's better if you never get involved in this. Estelle's trying to downplay this, turn her off from sushi the same way that she's been removed from the things she loved. She can't help but place that on someone else, in this case, Catherine. However, Catherine is not easily deterred. Though confused, she tells her, okay, I will be back, though. Estelle shrugs her shoulders, thinking that she will never see her again, anyways. It's a couple days later. Estelle's back at her restaurant, and there's a knock at the door. Estelle looks up and sees Catherine standing out front. But this time, she has brought some packages with her in a book bag. Estelle steps outside, and Catherine prepares on a table that she brought, on a small prepared table that she brought, a fish and her knives. She places and fans everything out, and she decides to prep and fillet a fish to demonstrate and showcase her skills in front of Estelle. Catherine doesn't necessarily move as smooth and as beautifully as Estelle once did, but she gets the job done. It's not elegant, but it works. Catherine finishes and looks up at Estelle. Estelle sighs, picks up what she's created, and instantly throws it in the trash. Catherine is shocked at this point, maybe even feels some sort of way about this. Estelle stops her before she can even say anything and tells her the issue with that display was that it lacked any talent, and not even the worms would want to eat that. Catherine, taken aback, digests those words. Estelle thinks she got her now. No way she would want to continue to come back to see her now. Estelle goes to open the door to re-enter the restaurant, but Catherine calls out and says, well, why don't you teach me then? Estelle stands at the doorway, looking into the restaurant, Catherine off to the side behind her. Who knows what she's really thinking? But she lets out a sigh, opens the door fully, and tells her to follow. Estelle begins to teach Catherine the ways the ways of creating sushi, all the things she's learned when she was taught in Japan by the masters. We also see Estelle's hands shake even more becomes uneasy, so she has to teach through her words. Catherine notices, but decides not to say anything. She doesn't want to upset her. Catherine gets better, and Estelle becomes more approving of her work. But unfortunately, Estelle's symptoms get worse and worse. But while this is happening, the restaurant looks like it's only days away from opening. The place is beautiful. It's everything you would think a five-star sushi restaurant would look like. We're one day away where Estelle is going over how to fillet a fish with Catherine to make it even more perfect, showing her that this is a lifelong study. Even when you are a master, you're still also the student. Then Catherine stops, responding to Estelle. There's a moment of silence. Catherine finally asks, "What's wrong? Why can't you be a chef any further?" Estelle looks away and finally explains the situation with her. She explains the early onset Parkinson's, explains her situation will only get worse, and then tells Catherine something she never knew, which was she was actually going to shut this whole place down before it even began. But Catherine's skill and willingness to learn gave her hope, gave her a new version of her dream. This is a moment of bonding between these two that we have yet to see. It's now the grand opening day. This place is live. All the folks that used to be down by the dockside are in. They've been waiting for this day for months. She's been gone for such a long time. Her old co-worker is coming in to help. This place is busy, packed. It still has on her beautiful evening gown. Catherine is in her chef uniform, getting ready to prepare the best Japanese cuisine that you have ever tasted in the United States. Taught to her by the amazing Estelle. Estelle stands in the middle of everyone. Catherine clinks on a champagne glass to get everyone's attention. Estelle gives a speech full of heart about how she started, when she was inspired, where she trained, the difficulty of her training, the hardships of working for her own in the morning, for a restaurant at night, all while getting this place set up. It's been a long, hard road. And cherry on top, she tells everyone when she became ill, she thought her dream was going to die. But tonight's not tonight for sad news, because with the help of Catherine and her beautiful skill and training, we are all gathered here today to have some of the best cuisine you've ever had. No doubt it's as good, if not better, than hers. This part of the speech makes Catherine cry happy tears. And she wishes everyone a great night, great food, happy conversations. Everyone erupts in cheer and applause. Catherine nods at Estelle, turns around because now there's some work to do. Back to the kitchen, and Estelle mingles with her guests. We pull out, fade to black, the end.
There you have it. A star sushi chef and her protege.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Yeah.
That was good.
It's a little
Heartwarming
yeah,
story.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Gotta have
made
one of
me
those
feel
once
good.
in
I'm
a
over
while.
here smiling. I didn't even know we could make something so beautiful. I thought we only made
Stories with death, violence, betrayal, darkness. No, that was good. I like that. I like that. Now will our AI
That's right.
counterparts create such a heartwarming tale? I think they got a tall task ahead of them for
Won't
this
be
one.
easy.
All right, let's see here. Can you create a story with the words black issue worm star one? Let's see, star worm gown and lemon and lime. Make the main character a master sushi chef who suffers from Parkinson's. Not going to give it the protege angle.
Right.
Let's see what it comes up with.
Yeah.
That's our twist.
That's right.
That's ours. All right. I'm hoping it comes up with another silly story, but I also hope it comes up with something serious to give us some.
We'll find out.
What is this? Invalid URL.
What?
Post v1 incompletions. I don't know what this means.
I don't. Yeah. You said it was regressing, and now it's regressed to the point where it thinks you're putting in a URL.
Invalid URL. All right. Well, we're gonna have to use model 3.5, the one that came up with the silly story.
Was that Chat T4?
Yeah, 4 is the newest version.
Four's been giving a lot of trouble.
The quote unquote smarter version.
Yeah.
But 3.5 seems to have it down.
I mean, it just makes random funny stories, but Toshiro. We got lemon sushi for
lemon sushi for Parkinson's.
Oh, okay.
A killer title already. We're already starting off on a good foot.
That's either the funniest or the best title ever. I don't know.
Okay. I'm just imagining what's gonna.
I'm like, what's about to happen here?
Once upon a time, there was a master sushi chef named Toshiro. He had spent his whole life perfecting the art of sushi making, but in recent years, he had begun to experience symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Okay. This made it difficult for him to handle the delicate fish and rice required for his craft. Despite his lack of control, Toshiro refused to give up his passion. However, one day, an issue arose when a particularly picky customer complained that Toshiro's sushi lacked its usual precision and finesse. The customer went as far as to say that the sushi tasted like a worm. Feeling defeated, Toshiro retreated back to his kitchen to ponder his next move. That's when he noticed a small, shiny star-shaped object glinting on his counter. It was a lemon and lime squeezer, a gift from his wife that he had never used. Okay. Suddenly, a new idea struck Toshiro. He could use the squeezer to add a touch of citrus to the sushi, which would not only mask any slight imperfections, but also enhance the flavor. He quickly put on his favorite gown and set to work. As he squeezed the lemon and lime over each piece of sushi, Toshiro's hand began to steady, and his movements became more fluid. The tangy scent of the citrus filled the air, and Toshiro's creative juices started to flow once again. Soon the restaurant was abuzz with excitement over the new lemon and lime sushi, and Toshiro's confidence soared. He realized that even with Parkinson's, he could still innovate and create something new and exciting in this field. From that day on, Toshiro continued to experiment with new flavors and techniques, incorporating everything from chili flakes to coconut milk into his sushi. He never forgot the lesson he learned that day, that sometimes a seemingly insignificant item like a lemon and lime squeezer could be the key to unlocking his creativity and overcoming his challenges. All right, well, that's the story of Toshiro, whose sushi tasted like a worm.
Tasted like a worm, and apparently lemon and lime is the magic ingredient that needed to happen in order for it to not taste like a worm and steady his hand, it said. Somehow
who would have known
it cured his Parkinson's. Who would have known? Squeezing lemon and lime cures Parkinson's. You heard it here from Chat GPT. Is no bueno.
I was hoping it would make some like worm sushi as part of the silly story or something, but that was also pretty silly. All right, well, that is a clear W for us, I believe.
Easy.
Couldn't even come close, but we both use worm as an insult. That's what matters.
Yeah, that's true.
So now we must come up with a title for our story.
Ended Dreams.
I said Estelle dreams of sushi.
Estelle sushi.
Fish.
I mean, that could work too. Fish.
Filet.
The Prodigy.
Ah, that's not bad.
That sounds pretty nice.
That's not too bad. The Protege.
The Protege.
Fish fillet protege.
The fish fry protege restaurant. Catherine. That's the title right there. Fish is pretty good too. Just fish. I kind of like the simplicity. And it's kind of like, what is...
That's a restaurant.
A restaurant here, yeah.
Yeah, it's a restaurant.
But I like that it's simple and it's kind of just like, it still has the meaning of what it is, but you don't know, like, the thing with the protege is that it already tells you that there's some kind of structural learning. Someone's the master, right. Someone has to learn. The thing with fish is you have no idea, other than fish is somehow involved. of what's
Yep.
really going to happen. I think fish.
All right. That is fish. Possibly
Fish.
our most simplistic title yet.
That's right.
Lemon sushi for Parkinson's. That's also pretty good, but doesn't doesn't cut the slice. Doesn't cut it. Doesn't cut it. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Fish, the story of our prodigy sushi chef that suffers from Parkinson's as she trains up the next prodigy, the next generation of sushi chefs.
Yep.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back next week with a new set of words, maybe some new pictures, and a new story, as always. So we will talk to you guys then.
See ya.